Welcome to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. I'm Nadia Shana Kraus, author of From Dreaming to Done and founder of Soul Health Mentor and Company. Here we bring the human and the soul together. We talk about finishing the dream your soul has never let go of through embodiment, clarity, and wholeness, because we are souls having a human experience, not in exchange for, but in inclusion of. This is the Soul Health Mentor way. Hello, beautiful soul, strong heart, deeply human dreamer. Welcome back to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the anatomy of a dream from dreaming to done style. And my intention with this podcast episode is to give you an understanding that an authentic, true, heartfelt dream that comes from inside of you has an anatomy and it develops. It is not something that you can just snap your fingers and there it is, even though manifestation culture and personal development culture and activation culture likes to sell it that way. The dream is sold for free the dream is offered for free and then the hustle gets sold separately, and the hustle is often a structure, a cookie cutter structure that says, do this, and then you'll get your dream. And that is not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about that kind of dream here. So often when I go out in real life to in-person events to have a table at an event to share my book, From Dreaming to Done, a soul map for finishing what you were born to do, I get very interesting questions. And one of the questions is, what is the difference between a goal and a dream? And the difference between a goal and a dream is that a goal is taught to you in productivity culture. So you might have heard of SMART goals, which need to be specific, measurable, realistic, actionable, timely, all those things. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's definitely areas in life where that absolutely works. If you are looking to declutter your home and you want it done by a certain amount, you want it done in 4 weeks' time, then it is very, very smart to have a SMART goal. But a dream is something that lives inside of you. It's a whisper. It lives in your heart. It comes from your soul. And it's not necessarily a rational, finished idea from start to finish. It's literally just an idea. It's a vision. It's something that wants to come through you that doesn't exist yet. And that is the nature of being a life's artist, or like Germans like to say, a Lebenskünstler, an artist of life. You don't know what you're going to create. You're just inspired by color and by nature and by scent, whatever it may be. And then you start creating as the artist of your life. And when it comes to creating as the artist of your life, your heart's wishes and soul desires, you are trailblazing a path. And when I work with clients one-on-one, I typically work with visionary leaders, creatives, creators, and soul-led entrepreneurs because they know that area of life very well. At one point, their business or their art project or their community project, whatever it is, or the book they wanted to write was just an idea. And then it is about trailblazing your unique path. So let's talk about the anatomy of a dream. I want you to imagine that you had parents that were fully grounded in themselves and they were present and they had done the work of reparenting themselves. They had done the work of dissolving years and eons and decades of generational trauma where their parents didn't have what they needed, and they put in the work because they wanted to give their children what they wish they had. And then, as a woman and a man, your parents have came together to have you as a child. They are healed, they are present, they are empowered. And now they are developing you, this little human, and they are interested in you. They know you are unique. They know you have a personality. They know you were born with gifts and talents and something that you are supposed to bring through. They know it's unique to you, and they know that they will discover it with you. They pay attention and they nourish, nurture, and support you. And that nourishment, that nurturing, that support, I want you to imagine that you, as a little human, were supported in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, every way. You were guided and shown when your parents discovered, these healthy parents, when they discovered something that is unique about you, be it a quirk in your personality or something that you do very naturally, then they were guiding and showing you, and they were guiding and showing you the path to all the things that strengthens you as a little human and your gift. I want you to imagine that pathway. Imagine where you would be today if you had parents that could give that to you. And at the same time, I want to offer bold compassion because our parents didn't necessarily, and I say necessarily because there's always an exception to the rule. Our parents didn't necessarily do this maliciously. They did not do the things they did because they were fully aware of what they were doing. Often parents just pass along generational wounding, and they had never had parents that gave them what they needed. And so it becomes this trajectory. And maybe you have done the work of reparenting yourself in your adult life. And if you have, congratulations, such important work. And as a reparented adult, through your own inner work, you will understand very well what I'm talking about. If you haven't done the inner child work or the inner family work or the reparenting yourself, do not worry. You're still here in the right place. You will still understand what I'm talking about because you can imagine, because there's a part in you that really wishes and desires that you did have those kinds of parents that fully saw you, that fully supported you, that showed you, that guided you, and that strengthened you in your development. And imagine how different your life would be. I know that my life has gone the long way around. It literally took me 35 years to come to this place of feeling like I am finally supported, shown, guided, and strengthened in my development, my work, and everything that wants to come through me can now come through me. And that's why I'm able to record this podcast episode right now. So, okay, so we're there. You're imagining it. It would be a very natural development that your parents would see your gifts, your talents, your skill set, and they would encourage you to strengthen that. And in that strengthening, there would be a pathway that opens up. They would find the right resources, the right support, the right education for you to support your dream. And I want you to really open up to your imagination here. Your parents are healthy, healed, wealthy, and rich in wisdom, right? Those imaginary parents. And they honor that the creative life force energy lives in all of us. And they want to hone that in you so that you can know your soul map and finish what you were born to do. And they also know that your gifts are here to not only serve yourself as living your life and livelihood in joy as the richest version of you, but it benefits everyone around you, including your parents. It's just this beautiful reciprocity. They know this, so they are supporting you, and they are teaching you all the skill sets that you need to walk this path. And whatever you end up doing as your career, it's because of that developmental journey, those seeds that your parents, your healthy, empowered, wise parents have, those seeds they have planted. That's the reason why it's a natural progression and development. So that's the ideal scenario. And now we're going to go into the counter reality, of course. I know there are humans on this earth that have had amazing, wonderful, balanced, healed, and empowered parents. It does feel like the exception to the rule still, and that's okay as well. So a lot of us had to do the healing and empowerment work ourselves to give ourselves that development that we wish we had as a young child, a young adult, and forging our path in life. Now we're going to get to the anatomy of a dream. Just like you understood the development of a child right now, there is a development of a dream. So I want you to imagine your dream like a seed, like a little seedling that you are planting into fertile soil. And then you have to water that seedling and give that seedling sunlight and make sure it gets just the right amount of water and just the right amount of sunlight. And it might need some fertilizer. And you're nurturing that little seedling into a little plant. And then that little plant is growing its roots stronger and might still be potted. And at one point, the roots and the seed and seedling, the plant has grown into something beautiful that actually needs expansion and growth. And now it's ready to be planted out in the world, which is the garden. Your dream is the same thing. And it starts with the soul map spiral. And I introduce you to the soul map spiral in my book, From Dreaming to Done, a soul map for finishing what you were born to do. And in case you don't know my book, I'm going to just share with you the soul map spiral. It is dream spark, soul yes, spiral step in, preservation chamber, alignment check in, expression gate, and integration done. So it takes you from dream spark to integration done. And it is not a linear path, it is a spiral, because once you're in the preservation chamber, alignment check-in and expression gate are on lather, rinse, repeat. And sometimes when you get off track and you are misaligned, you need to go back to your dream spark and your soul yes, and you might try things that didn't work out and you need to spiral step into something else. So you can see it's a spiral, it's alive, it's dynamic. That is the first part of the development of your dream. When I talk about the anatomy of a dream, I use these words because you're bringing the intangible into the tangible. So a dream that is authentically you coming from your soul and your heart doesn't exist yet. That's the nature of a vision. It doesn't exist. So it's hard to talk about something that doesn't exist. And I remember being highly criticized when I would talk about my dream sparks to people that weren't visionary leaders, that didn't grow up with parents that planted the seed. So my dad did plant the seed of possibility in me. My mom planted the seed as well in her way. So possibility was planted. They just didn't have the tools to fully develop me as a little human, a growing up human, and they didn't know the anatomy of a dream. So all they knew was to already guide me towards structures that exist. The anatomy of a dream has 4 phases. Now we're giving it structure. We're giving it a body. Now we're giving that intangible, those things that you only feel but cannot see, we're giving it a form. So the first part of your dream that is really coming from your heart and soul and authentically from you, from your inner world, the first phase is called the awakening phase. And in the awakening phase, it is scary. It can be scary because it doesn't exist. And your mind is looking for the how. You have this grand vision that makes you come alive and that feels amazing, but you're like, how? How? And then it's very natural for the conditioned mind to look for ways in systems that already exist. So you might feel the soul, yes, and you might spiral step into a existing structure, and you might partially manifest and self-actualize your dream, and you do still come to that point where you're like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't it. So that dream spark, soul, yes, spiral step in, that's very well understood in our society. That's the dream activation. And then in society at large, it offers structures that already exist. And those structures tell you if you join, then you will get your dream. However, a visionary dream doesn't work that way. So, from the awakening phase, if you are creating something completely new that doesn't exist yet, and you have developed the courage to say soul, to give it your full soul yes, and to step into the spiral, what you're saying yes to is the next phase of the anatomy of a dream. It's the identity, it's who you have to become to self actualize and manifest that vision that wants to come through you. Because the version of you that created success in the past in those systems and structures cannot create success in this new version of you. So it's really about becoming the change you wish to see in the world. And often the dream that we hold in our heart, if we could snap our fingers and have a magic wand, we would want that dream to touch everybody because we know that everybody would benefit because of it. So that's the identity phase. Then you make it through the awakening and the identity phase, and you actually self actualize and manifest your dream. And it's there, and you're living it. Now you're getting to the new phase, and there's a new threshold of the anatomy of your dream. Now it's all about relational sovereignty. And my companion book, which will publish soon, is called From Dreaming to Done, the companion book, The No Drama Path to Living What You Were Born to Do. In relational sovereignty, we often notice like we've become relationally sovereign because we've become the person that can finish the dream where we've self actualized and manifested it. But now we also need relationships that are sovereign, where everybody in the relationship is sovereign and self-responsible and leading themselves and healed and empowered, not perfect, still deeply human and messy, of course, but they are sovereign. They are allied to us and to themselves. They are gatekeepers to themselves, and they also respect our boundaries. So that's a sovereign relationship. And when that doesn't when your environment shows you that you've got a lot of misaligned relationships because they are stuck in the drama triangle of perpetrator, victim, and rescuer, then there's just going to be a lot of life force that leaks that is keeping you from completing your next dream. Because, of course, if you have self actualized and manifested one dream, of course, you're going to have the next because you're a beautiful soul and a strong heart and a deeply human dreamer who's going to grow and expand all your life, of course. So let's say you get through that and you're really aligning to sovereign relationships, to relationships to others with other sovereign creators of their life, and you're feeling super happy, then you might get to the last phase of a dream. And it doesn't mean last phase, it only happens once and never again. Like I said, everything is a spiral, but it's your physical capacity, it's your body. And midlife women know this very well. I'm 51, so I'm a midlife woman. And the body gives you clues. The body gives you clues to your physical capacity. Any high achieving woman, even in her 30s, And I had my first burnout at 28. So even back then, I wasn't a midlife woman. My body was still very, very strong, but I burnt myself out. And I didn't just burn myself out when I was 28. I burnt myself out when I was 35. And then when I hit midlife at 45, I noticed it. And obviously now there's just all of this information that my body is giving me, where my body is literally letting me know I do not have the physical capacity to hold the bigness of your dream. And here we're talking about nervous system healing, we're talking about body healing, and we're really talking about the journey of listening to your body so that the dream that you have so beautifully created and built becomes sustainable to live. And most importantly, your dream becomes the joy that you so desire, require, and deserve. It becomes you as the richest version of you living your joy. So that was my podcast episode for this week. I am so excited and grateful to be introducing you to amazing Tamaya Urban, who will share with us how she walked the soul map spiral to self-actualize and manifest her dream, which is her healing practice. So I invite you to come back to Soul Health Mentor Podcast to listen to an amazing interview with Timea Urban. And I thank you for being here. Keep showing up. It was important for me to really outline this today so that you know that a dream is sold to you as easy. Like that's dream activation language. It's easy, it's inspiring, it's amazing, it's dream bigger, possibility, and all of it feels super sexy and it makes you feel alive. And at the end of the day, there isn't a lot of talk about what it actually takes. What does it actually take to self-actualize your potential and bring it from the intangible to the tangible and real, where everybody in the world can see your potential made manifest and you living that potential as the richest version of you in joyous expression. Thank you for being here. See you in the next episode. Thank you for being here. If something in this conversation stirred your body, whispered to your heart, or woke up a dream you've been carrying, that's not random, that's resonance. If you want to walk this path with me and join a community of grounded visionaries learning to finish what their soul began, download your soul map gift by visiting soulhealthmentor.com and clicking on the book icon. And if you loved this episode, share it with someone whose dream deserves to be finished, or write a review of your experience on Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music. Here we root and rise together, one completed dream at a time.